Okay, so today I'm going to talk to you about why most SEO campaigns fail and a few ways that you can make sure that your campaign doesn't fail and you've got some great success. Let's go ahead and dive into it. Before you get started, make sure to click the notification bell and make sure to subscribe so that you can get more videos like this in the future. Okay, so the number one reason that I really think most SEO campaigns fail is because of this. They just don't know how to prioritize. There's so many things that you can do in search engine optimization, in digital marketing, on the internet in general, right? So if you don't know how to prioritize, you're totally gonna fail. It is for sure the most important thing. So, if you're spending your time on alt tags, schema, pages that don't matter, that don't drive revenue, getting junky links, you can spend a lifetime doing SEO and not have any results. So these would be a few of the things to stay away from when you're initially doing a campaign. The second reason that many SEO campaigns fail is because you do something that doesn't work, okay? There's a lot of things out there that you really shouldn't do and are going to cause major issues. The first one, for example, would be changing URLs, right? So you might come into a website and you might think, well, this site's got a terrible URL structure. It's got URL parameters, the URL sequence doesn't make sense, I'm going to change URLs, right? Or you find duplicate content in two URLs that have the same thing, right? And you find that one is ranking and the other one's not. You redirect the one that is ranking by accident. Anytime that you change URLs, this can cause a major issue, and it can be something that doesn't work and something that sets you back for 3 to 6 months with any SEO program. So you want to make sure you approach that in the right way to minimize any risk that you have for the business. Another example of that would be adding poor content to a page. Say that you've got 10 pages, you really want to build or you really want to refresh, you add content to that page, but the content doesn't have the right intent, right? The content is totally generic, doesn't have facts, doesn't have figures, doesn't have semantic markup, doesn't have the things that Google is looking for to rank higher. So if you're doing something that doesn't work, that's gonna make it so that your SEO campaign fails. Another thing, your site is technically flawed from the beginning. So it could be the website's technically flawed, or it could be it's got an overall penalty. It could be that you've got bad links that are being built to the site. Something is holding this site down so that you really can't have that long-term success. That's why it's so important during any type of onboarding period that you do your best to diagnose any issues that could happen long-term. So things to look for would be JavaScript. Generally within the first, 3 months of a campaign, you want to really understand any potential JavaScript issues that you could have on a website. This is happening more and more where a site might be delivering a lot of content through JavaScript and it's being rendered after the fact and Google has a hard time picking it up, right? There's a lot of easy solves for that. Another example might be page speed. Your page speed is so slow that Google doesn't want to rank this site and people can't really use this site and it can't convert. Another example would be core web vitals or mobile issues that you have. Your core web vitals, your mobile is so bad that Google algorithmically keeps the site a little bit lower than other sites. So very important that you're technically correct. Now, what's something that works and that's tried and true when it comes to search engine optimization? Well, been doing this a long time. Here are a few things that work. Technically correct right out of the gate. Full audit, make sure everything's working properly, nothing's holding you down on the site and off the site. Do a deep dive into the external links. Make sure there's not a bunch of spam that's being built there. There's not a lot of exact anchor text. There's no penalties that are inside of the manual action area inside of Google Search Console. Very important thing to debug. I would even take this a step further and I would say that it's a good idea to use a tool like SEMrush and then look at all the Google updates over the last 3 or 4 years. Has the site algorithmically been impacted by any of those updates? And what were the qualities of those updates? Were there certain things that those updates looked at, such as links, such as content, such as mobile, etc.? Make sure that you go through a checklist that looks at the past algorithms as well so that you future-proof the website. It doesn't get hit again in the future. Number 2 is probably the most important thing in digital marketing, but for sure in SEO, focus on the money pages. I said this before, I'll say it again. On any website, there's usually 10, 20 pages that drive 90% of the revenue for the site. If you are focused on content marketing, you're focused on building new pages, you're probably ignoring this group of pages that drives all of your revenue, all of your leads. So it's very important you understand what are the biggest keywords the site's going after, right? Where do they rank in Google? What would be the click-through rate impact and the benefit if you were able to push those keywords to the top? Are you focusing your SEO efforts on the right pages, both from a content and a linking perspective? Critical, critical, critical. Go inside of Google Analytics, okay? Go to your landing page report, look at the ones that have the highest conversion, do a secondary dimension on there, look at all the different sources that are there and the way that those sources contribute to the conversions on that landing page. That's going to tell you your highest converted pages and your highest converting things that are multi-channel, even outside of search engine optimization, which leads me to item number 3. Have a multi-channel approach. Yes, SEO is probably still and is still in most cases the #1 channel for driving conversions revenue on the web, right? A lot of people use Google, a lot of people use these search engines, the brands grow, they use them even more, it's critical. But you would be not very smart if you didn't start taking a multi-channel approach to digital marketing. Building up those remarketing lists, those email captures, using all of that traffic so it doesn't just go away, using it again and again and again, right? Very, very critical. And then finally, understanding intent. You can spend all the time in the world trying to rank a page for a specific item, but if you don't have the intent of the user matched to that page, it will never get to where you want to go. So these are a few reasons that SEO campaigns fail. These are a few ways to make sure that they win. If you have any questions, go ahead and leave them below. I love hearing from you. I appreciate it, and I'll see you next time.